Hey YouTube, Dan Auto here, and I may have spoiled it in the title, but I will not be playing this meta. I do not think you should be either, but I will go over the top 20 rankings. I'll go over a few teams that I just fooled around with PvPoke. If you do want to play, what could potentially work. But I do think there's a severe limitation of this Halloween Cup that you will not see in the Great League Halloween Cup. I'm actually, even though I got up to like 2,800 and I've kind of stalled there, I'm actually having a lot of fun in the Great League Cup because there's enough variation in Pokemon that you can put a bunch of different teams together. For a few reasons. One, there's not a lot of XL Pokemon. Two, all those different Pokemon in the Great League have some play against each other. And in this meta, in the Ultra League, it just seems like the meta is much smaller. It is dominated by XLs, and you don't have as many like winning Pokemon like you do in the Great League. It's really going to be dominated by a few Pokemon, and the covering of the weaknesses is going to be more limited here. So let's just kind of go over what I sort of mean by this. So there is, first let's just go to there's just the pure poisons, but like there's the poisons and then there's the poison darks, right? The pure poisons is Nidoqueen, Crobat down there at 1819, but also has the flying component, but pure poisons, sort of resist charm or fairy, does well in most sort of neutral situations. Again, there's not a ton of ground to deal with Nidoqueen in this Ultra League, and so that's why it deals with, I already mentioned, deals with the fairies, so it does well overall. Then you have the dark poisons. I just put out a video a couple days ago. Dark poison is a dominant typing duo because you have like the poison which sort of neutralizes the fairy, yet you still get all the benefits of having like the dark added on to it, which there's a lot of. If you just look at the list, the top 20 is kind of not random, but you have like Giratina Alter, which is like huge in the open, right? And then you have a couple waters that poison and fairy. So Tentacruel, again, it's more poison there, and Tapu Fini is more fairy, even though they're both water components, right? So the Tentacruel as a poison is going to be so like your nice answer to Nidoqueen. The darks, it's kind of like a neutralist matchup because they can hit you, you can hit them. And then Tapu Fini is a nice answer for sort of Giratina. And then the Water Gun is running Water Gun here, right? Well, it always runs Water Gun because it's kind of limited as moveset, but it's a nice answer like Nidoqueen, and it hits neutral against pretty much everything, right? There's not just a ton of waters in this. And because like what I found in like the Great League is like if you run Confusion, you get sort of walled by Steel, and you get walled by Dark. If you run Poison, you get walled by Ghost. There's a lot of just like things that can get walled there. Tapu Fini is interesting because there's not a ton that is just going to wall water. Like there is the dragon in Giratina, so you need to watch for the dragon. But for the most part, like it's going to hit neutral against everything, right? So if you keep it away from it, again, it's tough to keep away from a poison in a poison dominated meta. But if you keep away from the poison, like it's going to do well almost in everything. And then Genesect is on here 3 times with Chill, Shock, and Burn. But for the most part, like your Fury Cutter, Magnet Bomb combo, and then just depends what you want for coverage, right? I guess your Chill is going to deal with flyers to flyers. Shock, I guess, will deal with flyers as well. Chill will also, I think why Chill is higher is because Giratina is on number 11, right? So you cover your dragon there as well. And you will also have a move for Nidoqueen, which is 1 and 2, right? So I think that's why Chill is so high. And then Shock and Burn, just because there's just less things that you're going to hit super effective to. I mentioned there's a couple waters there in the top in 5 and 15, so that's where the Shock will do, right? Good answer because Magnet Bomb is resisted, Steel's resisted by water, so having that coverage there. And then I guess that's why Blast Burn is more lower because there's just not a ton of things that there's some Genesect itself is a bug, and then you're looking at Fortress and Crustle. Well, Crustle's got the rock, so it neutralizes that, but there are some bug in this, so Technoblast could be there. So Genesect is going to be one of the interesting ones where it's kind of like roll the dice. Which one do you think they're running? Giratina 11, again, Dragon Claw and Ancient Power, just because there's not real a point of running a Ghost type move when there's so many Darks in this, right? So that's why that's there. The other, what was this? A Legendary Beast? Poison with a rock and, again, another Poison type user. Poison Dark in Overquill. Mandibuzz as the sort of the tank with Air Slash again. So you're already seeing sort of the limited in the meta here, and they fail, and you're going to see what I mentioned already a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, number 5, 6, 7, 9, 13, 17, 20, all XL Pokemon. Crobat gets like a level 40, and then you have legendaries in Genesect, in Giratina, and a legendary beast in Heligo, right? So, and Tapu Fini. So what do you want to spend your dust on? Do you want to spend it on XL Pokemon? Do you want to spend it on legendary and get the 100 rare candies for the second move? Or do you want to spend it on Pokemon that will have play in some metas like Crobat, but for the otherwise is sort of not useless in Open Ultra, but is somewhat useless? And that's kind of why I'm staying away from this. It just seems that the meta is too small. It's too Dust and XL dependent to build up. And I think with Open Great League on for the third week in a row, which is a great option, I think most people just play in Open Great League, and so will I. But I did put 3 teams together using sort of Pokemon that I had. Started with Nidoqueen, and there you go. Like, Nidoqueen covers everything except for the Chill Drive Genesect, like I said, right? Run the Chill to throw a super effective move at Nidoqueen. And Giratina alters, obviously, with the Ghost is going to resist the poison. But for the most part, like, that's a heck of a lot of X's down the board, right? So you got so many strengths there. So what do? You just cover your weaknesses with Gengar. So covered it with Gengar for the Giratina, for the Genesect, for the Escav, because you just outpaced there. And then I need a third. And I'm like, okay, what sort of has like good play all around? I'm like, Tapu Fini, like I just said, water type, not a lot it's going to resist. And the ones that do resist, like Tentacruel, you have 2 covers for, right? But for the most part, you're going to do great or neutral or sort of okay in all of the matchups. And that's why it's just an easy sort of cover your weakness team, okay safe swap, just coverage all the way down the board. So the second one is, where are we here? Like an ABB style team with your Giratina lead, weak to poison, no, weak to dark, and Fairy, right? Those are your 2 main weaknesses, but for the most part, like Giratina doing Giratina things against the main metas here, like that's a lot of X's down the board. A couple big losses against your A9tails, Charmer, Tapu Fini, a Fairy as well, not a Charmer, but a Fairy, so that will resist all the Dragon Breath. And then Genesect Chill, again, the only chill one to deal with when I mentioned the Dragon, right? So I decided to do like an ABB style team. Double poison in the back. I'm using Muck. They had poison jab and poison and acid spray as the fast move. I changed it to Snarl. You can run either or. I just prefer the Snarl because you can just hit. I would rather have 2 nukes that you just hit faster for. And there's so much poison in this. I don't want to run a poison type fast move because then you're just gonna be like in big trouble against those Pokemon. I'd rather have something to do that. So there's your safe swap. Tentacruel in the back for the coverage of your fairies, right? So very straightforward ABB, Muck safe swap, Tentacruel in the back to sweep the rest. And then I was doing a third one, and you're going to see the problem was I started with Genesect. So I started with Genesect down the board. And I'm like, okay, I'm weak to Drapion, Escav, like I'm weak to Dark Poison. I'm weak to Scizor, which is a Steel. I'm weak to Umbreon. So I'm like, okay, that's an easy coverage with Scrafty. And then sort of my remaining thing, I'm like, what am I weak to? I'm weak to Tentacruel, double weak there. I'm double weak to Toxstroke to a certain extent. And it was just like, the one main recommendation again was Tentacruel. And it was Nidoqueen. And it was just like, it's just like these Pokemon are going to be so limited. There's going to be like 10 to 15 Pokemon that you're going to see constantly, just based on Nidoqueen and Giratina and all these Genesects ruling this meta. So I am not interested in a limited meta that is involved around XL Pokemon and legendary Pokemon, right? So you can play it. I expect it to be much more stale than the Great League Halloween Cup, so just keep that in mind. I will be going to Open Great League and testing out a bunch of Pokemon that I want to potentially use for regionals. Going to be playing in the Toronto Regional first week of December. I've got an idea of some of the Pokemon I want to bring, but I just want to maybe test some of them out. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Good luck if you're going to use that. Do this cup. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that like button. Share. Help the algorithm. Comment. Do all that YouTube related stuff that would help this channel. Greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one.